Ohio State wide receiver Carnell Tate's superpower could help Tyler Shough take his game to the next level.
You are Locked On Saints, your daily New Orleans Saints podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is good, Who Dat Nation and Who Dat family? I am your host, your friend Ross Jackson, and on today's episode, we're giving you a quick scouting report on Ohio State wide receiver Carnell Tate and why he could be a great selection for the New Orleans Saints in round one. We'll take a look at his battle with Jordan Tyson out of Arizona State for wide receiver 1 in this year's draft class. But we're going to kick everything off with Carnell Tate's superpower, his ball skills, and how they could take the New Orleans Saints offense to the next level. Let's get into it. The New Orleans Saints are going to pick at number 8 in this year's draft. And when they do, they're going to be in position to take one of two wide receivers potentially. Either Arizona State's Jordan Tyson, who is most people's wide receiver 1, although medicals will eventually be a part of that. That's why next week's combine is so important, or the next couple of weeks combine is so important. Or Carnell Tate, the wide receiver out of Ohio State, who is the subject of our conversation today. Carnell Tate would immediately have a massive impact here in New Orleans because of what he can do tracking the football in the air and coming down with tough catches. He has undoubtedly the best ball skills in this year's NFL draft, bar none, full stop. His ability to track the ball in the air while running downfield is perfect and exactly what it is that you want that will translate to the next level. His ability to manage and win contested catch opportunities has been exemplary throughout his career, and in particular in 2025. It was the most fun about watching his film so far. And his focus with the football in the air. He's got excellent concentration. He does not lose that concentration. He understands very well how to keep himself locked in while also working his way open, dealing with double teams, dealing with the contested catches, right? Those contested situations, all that. 0 drops in 2025. Also just a secure-handed receiver. And in his 3 years at Ohio State, he had just 5 drops over the course of his career. 4%. That is absolutely outstanding. It's some of the most reliable numbers you're going to find in this year's draft class. And honestly, would be amongst some of the most reliable numbers you will find in any draft class. We're talking about 0 drops in 2025. A couple of other standout things when it comes to him. He is at 6'3", 195 pounds, not just a short and intermediate threat. He is an intermediate and deep threat as well. He was absolutely outstanding from a yards per reception base. 3.02 yards per route run. So that's out of everything that he has run all throughout his 2025 season. Every route, he was at least gaining an average of 3.02 yards. That was 4th best in the class amongst wide receivers. I mentioned his yards per catch average, 17.2. He caught 51 passes this year for 875 yards and 9 touchdowns. All 9 of those touchdowns, going back to my point about him being a threat in the intermediate and deep area, all 9 of those touchdowns were secured on passes 10 or more yards downfield. 6 of those, 20 or more yards downfield. On those 20 or more yard passing attempts and opportunities, he caught 11 of his 17 deep passing targets and had an overall passer rating when targeted over the course of his career, not just 2025, over the course of his career of 134.4 for his quarterback. He would take Tyler Shough's game to the next level. You go back to just 2025, 151.8 passer rating for Julian Sayin when he was targeting, or any Ohio State quarterback, when the target was Carnell Tate. This dude didn't make a ton of waves because he had Jeremiah Smith on the other side. He's been kind of dealing, he had Emeka Egbuka on the field with him and everything like that. Hasn't had a 1,000-yard receiving season, but he very, very well can be the first wide receiver off the board and would be a huge asset to the New Orleans Saints. So beyond just being a deep and intermediate threat as well, he's a physical perimeter blocker in the run game, and he understands how to utilize his leverage. One of my favorite plays that I watched from him was a deep ball up against Penn State where he had space. He was on the split inside all by himself. So he had no slot help, basically. When I'm talking about split in, it's the receiver that lines up on the line of scrimmage all by himself on his side, the weak side guy. He ends up running this route from inside the numbers So he knows he's got space to the outside. He knows he's got space to the inside. He knows he's got space over the top. So he pushes upfield, but as he's pushing upfield, he's going in between. He's working his way on his release from the numbers, crossing over the numbers, moving inside a bit, sells an outside move, advances to the safety, completely disregards the corner, right? Because the corner is going to pass him off to the safety. He understands this. So then he uses the inside leverage on the corner to sell an inside break to the safety. The safety bites. He goes up over the top. It's that kind of high-level thinking and understanding of how to use your leverage and route running in order to work your way open in a bracket situation or a cover 2 hole shot situation, all those types of things. He did such a phenomenal job on that consistently throughout his tape. Carnell Tate would absolutely change the game for the New Orleans Saints on offense, and it's one of the biggest reasons why he's in conversation for being the true wide receiver 1 this offseason instead of Jordan Tyson. So let's discuss that breakdown here next. Who is the true wide receiver 1? I still think it's Jordan Tyson, but Carnell Tate has a very important edge. Let's get to that next as we continue on with today's episode of Locked On Saints, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode of Locked On Saints brought to you by our friends over at Indeed. Look, we're all trying to get back into the swing of things, right? We had carnival season, Mardi Gras just passed, festival season's on the way. Now all of a sudden we're showing up to work on Thursday and Friday with inboxes overflowing. And oh, by the way, that one job you still have left to fill is still sitting there open. But you want to make sure you got the right candidate. That is why that is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. In the minute that I'm going to sit here telling you about Indeed sponsored jobs, all right? Companies just like yours will have already made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So don't miss out on your opportunity. Go and check out Indeed sponsored jobs today. And our listeners to the show will get a $75 sponsored job credit. That's going to help you make sure you get the premium positioning for your job posting that it deserves. Just head over to Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need a hire? Well, that's a job for Indeed sponsored jobs.
Hey, it's Matt Derry from the Locked On Lions podcast. The people I love depend on me. If I'm gone, the financial responsibilities don't disappear. I didn't want my family figuring things out during the hardest moment of their lives. That's why I knew only one place to go. I chose life insurance through my friends at Ethos. Ethos makes getting life insurance fast and easy, 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. There's no medical exam. You just answer a few simple health questions. You can get up to $3 million in coverage. Some policies are as low as $30 a month. I love the folks at Ethos. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos now by going to ethos.com/LockedOnNFL. In as little as 10 minutes, you can get the free quote and up to $3 million in coverage at ethos.com/LockedOnNFL. That is ethos.com/LockedOnNFL. Ethos.com/LockedOnNFL. Application times and rates may vary.
Today's episode also brought to you by friends over at 5 Hour Energy, where the draft talk doesn't stop, because we're taking a look at a little bit of a flavor draft over at 5 Hour Energy. 17 incredible flavors, plus a rotating list of special edition flavors that hit all the time. My favorites, blue raspberry as well as cherry. Those are the two go-tos for me when it comes to 5 Hour Energy. I love 5 Hour Energy. Super easy to carry around. Great on like a golf course or whatever. They're like 3 times I go golfing a year, but great to have just to kind of get you that little boost throughout the rest of your day. But look, there's some kind of sleeper flavors out there as well. I've been very interested in the tropical punch. There's like a mango one that I really want to try as well. So there's a ton for you to go and check out. You can find them right now over at 5hourenergy.com. Find your new favorite flavor of 5 Hour Energy by visiting there now. You can find all the 5 Hour Energy shots available at 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon. Let's get it, Who Dat Nation. Carnell Tate is absolutely embattled in this wide receiver 1 conversation and intertwined in that conversation along with Arizona State's Jordan Tyson going into this year's draft. And the biggest and most sort of significant edge that Carnell Tate has is simply availability. And that's going to be the conversation over the course of this offseason. And I think that, like, for Saints fans who have seen injury after injury after injury after injury and everything over the course of the past few years, and, you know, saw what happened with Michael Thomas and the what if around all of that, what could have been with him. That, a guy coming in with an extensive injury history is going to be something that's going to kind of give a little bit of pause, right? Now, you got to remember too, like some guys deal with injury in college, but then when they get upgraded facilities, upgraded treatment, all this other stuff in the pros, things tend to kind of tick down a little bit. But also, that's not always the case, right? Like the Saints have drafted injured goods before, and they ended up being injured during their time in the NFL. Every NFL team has had that happen. And so the biggest thing is like, what are you looking for and what are you going to get out of the player? Jordan Tyson is an all-around guy. You can play him outside. You can move in the slot. He's a contested catch guy. He's a speed guy. He's a yards after catch guy. He can make plays in all three levels, everything like that. Carnell Tate, maybe not doesn't have the speed to be maybe like a big yards after catch threat, but has the route running capabilities to separate and create opportunities for himself before the catch that end up paying dividends for his team, right? So even if the yards after catch isn't there, he does some of the other things really well. It's like the conversation around Elijah Surratt out of Indiana. A lot of people will focus on the fact that he doesn't really create a lot of separation. Fine. No one creates a lot of separation in the NFL, not on a play-to-play basis. They get a couple of plays here to where they create 3 yards of separation, 5 yards of separation, another time to where they break open free and all that. But for the most part, you got to be able to make catches in tight spaces and catches in tight windows. That's what makes Elijah Surratt still somebody that NFL teams are going to be interested in. Carnell Tate does that too, though, right? Like we just said, he was 12 of 14 on contested catches, and actually 6 of his 9 touchdowns in 2025 were on contested opportunities as well. So he has been outstanding in the contested catch world. So he's going to be fine, but also has the ability to create separation. We were talking about that route that he ran earlier with the bracket coverage, the corner on the outside and the safety over the top, all that. So I think like the big separator in terms of the conversation here is always going to be that Carnell Tate has been more available than Jordan Tyson. He's missed 4 games in his career. Missed 3 games last year with a calf injury, missed 1 game in either 23 or 24. I think it was 24, also a calf injury. So that'll be checked up on. That's going to come up in medical checks and things like that. Like, hey, how's that calf? Like, it's cost you at least a game in the last couple of seasons or within the last 3 seasons. Like, what's going on there? But this is a guy that's played double-digit games every year of his career, played through a national championship and then was back on the field to start the next season, has played into Cotton Bowls and things like that. Like, he has not just played a standard college football season. He's played well into not just bowl game, but into the college football playoff and has been back on the field and ready to go at the beginning of the next year. So I think that's his biggest edge. I think it's that, and then it's the specificity behind his game. And when you think about it, any team could use an all-around guy. Don't get me wrong. Nobody's going to look at Jordan Tyson and say, he does too many things well. We don't want him, right? No one's going to do that. But Carnell Tate, if the Saints are concerned about the medicals around Jordan Tyson, which I would not blame any team for that, if they feel better about Carnell Tate and want to go wide receiver in the first round, premier position, they love premium positions in the top 15, there's a chance that because of what Carnell Tate does so incredibly well, his ability to elevate his quarterback, his ability to go out there and make tough catches, his ability to create separation, his ability to run routes, understand his leverage, maybe is exactly what it is that the Saints are looking for another wide receiver to pair up with Chris Olave as well as Davaughn Vele, and then move Chris Olave and Davaughn Vele around. Jalen Polk maybe gets his opportunity to come back in 2026. Trey Palmer maybe gets his opportunity to come back in 2026. Maybe there's other wide receivers that end up joining the fray here in New Orleans as well. There's a lot of reasons here for you to feel really, really good if Carnell Tate is indeed the selection at pick number 8 overall in this year's NFL draft. All right, coming up in tomorrow's episode, we're doing another salary cap update. We'll talk about how much money the Saints have, what's going on with the NFL salary cap, when we can expect restructures to begin, and how the Saints should spend their money in free agency. Oh yeah, it's a big show to wrap up the week tomorrow. We appreciate you very much. As always, make this a part of your day, part of your routine, for saying yes to me on the show. If you see me, please say hi. If you need anything else around your New Orleans Saints in between these episodes, make sure you follow me on your favorite social media at Ross Jackson, NOLA. Hit me up. Let me know how the family's doing. Let me know how you living. Let me know how your mom and them. And trust you, that nation. I'll holla at you.